I'll read. Them's the first words I ever said on film, because I am a boring person who has to keep bringing that fact up to seem interesting. We had that Handbook omnibus the other day, so I thought, let's look at where the Handbooks ended up. This is one of the last ones that Marvel did, and it is a nice parallel that when they abandoned the Handbooks, it was simultaneous with me giving up on Marvel. This is Captain America, America's Avenger, a Handbook themed around Captain America. The last 3 Handbooks they did were this one. There was a Defenders one I might look at one day. And there was an Avengers one. And then Alex Alfonso, he got rid of them because he thought they were misrepresenting Marvel as a brand and appealing to the wrong sort of fans. Here are the credits for a lot of junior editors and internet fanboys that do a much better job building the Marvel universe than the company's senior editors. This one, it offers updates on some Captain America characters and gives profiles to new ones or ones who have been overlooked in previous editions. And we kick off with one of my favourite obscure Captain America baddies. This is America Droid. He is a Nazi scientist trapped inside a 20-foot-tall Captain America robot. There is just this spectacular visual with this character where you have Captain America fighting a giant version of himself. It is really fun. So this character died a few months after this Handbook came out. I've read this so many times that it's not really in the best condition. This is an odd Golden Age character, and his picture is one of the few that didn't abide by the rather good decision they had made for these last batch of Handbooks. Our here we have Bucky Man as Captain America, and his picture, about 90% of the profile pictures, they are all by the same artist. They decided that it was best to gun for a consistent look and get original art done for the profiles, because for ages they had just been doing stuff like this, grabbing a picture from an ad comic, and they aren't always good for profiles, and your choices are limited. Whereas this is a good profile picture. It also follows the guidelines that Marky Mark established for the character images, of them being a static picture and clearly showing the character in question, and them not being in an action pose or having them from a side view or whatever. Captain America 2019, not really him at all. This was an imposter. And it's a shame that they didn't give him a real name here, because otherwise the only way to identify him is as Captain America. And he wasn't Captain America. He was He was a psychotic bad guy. Some persons think Hayley Atwell is one of the most beautiful women in the world. She is only 38 and she looks this hard in real life too. I suppose she's alright if you're into budget Beckon sales. This is the second Bucky Man, another character who was killed shortly after this Handbook came out. Actually, Hayley Atwell was killed as well. Like these 3 characters I have listed, they all died within the space of 5 months of this coming out. It really is like English lit paper, who was writing Captain America at the time. He flipped through this to find people he could have as incontinent hard people shitting themselves in restrooms. Oh, this guy is great. This guy, he was one of Marky Mark's final new baddies. He was a grave robber who could transform into dead people. And he liked to transform into dead superhumans so that he could get their superpowers. He did this by contact with their skin. So he walked around with a cigar box filled with fingers. He had cut off dead bodies. He never appeared again after Marky Mark. And I think part of the reason for that is because of the characters whose fingers he had supposedly chopped off, they had turned up alive again with all of their digits intact. So this guy, he just became one big continuity mistake that they would rather ignore. We've got Stanley Tucci, that is Jack Quimby art. That is fine actually, that's not a bad choice for picture. Then on the next page, Maxwell L Jackson, the evil Samuel L Jackson robot from the Defenders. Great to see him get a profile. He died shortly after this as well. Hydra, we get a nice image there by the great Sam Chang. This was a cover to a Jonathan Huckleberry comic, unfortunately. And the main updates that it lists here, they are all reflective of awful Jonathan Huckleberry retcons about Leonardo da Vinci and Nikola Tesla forming SHIELD and garbage like that. Here is another loose end in the Marvel Universe. The Santa impersonator hasn't appeared since 1995. Didn't expect any resolution to that plot line anytime soon. I'm obviously not covering every entry here because some of them are quite dull people. Although here is 2 without new bits of art. This is very much a Marky Mark heavy Handbook. A lot of characters from his run on Captain America. Probably why I like it so much. And there is another one of his, m.o.d.a.m. And that art, that is from the loose leaf Handbooks from the 90s. Wasn't a big fan of them. And I didn't like how they did this profile because they include all the m.o.d.a.ms from before m.o.d.a.m. was a unique character. Like, whenever a woman was transformed into a similar form before m.o.d.a.m. was introduced in Kazon number 9. This here is the sort of character who has a decent amount of appearances, but never got an entry because back in the day, she'd have been given a small one as part of a team. Like she would be an appendix sort of one when they did an entry for the Skellington crew. But then when they brought the Handbooks back in 2004, they stopped doing profiles for characters within team profiles. So now everyone gets an entry. Neferman here, I did a video all about him and how Kurt Busey is such an idiot who is bigoted against 90s comics that he wasted one of the most valuable commodities he could have had for the Thunderbolts book. Speaking of things Kurt Busey is bigoted against, the homeless. They smell and nobody wants to associate with them ever. That is Kurt Busey's printed take on the homeless. What do people think of the updated look for the Handbooks? At first, I didn't like it. I really just wanted the yard layout and the exact same style. But I came to like this, especially when they started getting new art and they had this consistent look for them. They started to feel more like a natural evolution of what came before. The only criticism I have is that outside of the profile images, the other pictures they include are effectively random. Here, you've got them unmasked. They did nearly always show that. And then you have got his original costume. And to be fair, they usually were pretty good at showing costume variations like this. Then we have his death, which is something that they rarely show for other characters. And then a random picture showing him fighting Captain America. I'm assuming it's meant to display his powers. That is the cover to Captain America 285, I believe. Just random stuff, really. Stupid Martin Quaid character there. No idea how he gets a full page. He's in one flippin' issue. Red Skull Man update here. And this was before they were terrified to have a bad guy wear a swastika. This might even be as much as the last time they had him wearing a swastika instead of a Hydra logo. So we get an update on him. And then Captain America. By this point, he had actually came back as Captain America. But this was probably in production, concurrent with that development. So they had this picture before they knew he was going to be the main Captain America again. I didn't think there is many more really worth pointing out in here. We have some deep cuts that nobody but me cares about, like Captain Germany. Again, never appeared after Marky Mark left. The sexy Nazi woman. As always, I must stress, she is sexy because she is a woman, not because of her Nazi affiliation. I would not romance her because she is a Nazi, but I would maybe let her beat me up and I would get off on it. Then we have the return of the off-page profiles. We lost these in the 1985 Andy books, but they brought them back when they revived them. This guy down here, he comes from Stan Jurgensen's run, and he was a really very interesting baddie, so he never appeared again. Up there, that is the gym instructor who became Captain America for about a day until Red Skull Man crucified him. We are getting nearer the end now. And sadly, we end on another Martin McQuaid character. And then on the back, it lists the profiles inside. I love this. I don't know if this is the sort of thing I should be reviewing or rating. This is a comic, and comic should be in massive quotation marks. This is a comic of little use to most of the consumer base, but I like it more than almost any comic they put out the year this came out. 7 thumbs up.